Hi there, it's David from Outdoor Direct. Today I want to show you the Anantara 650 poly cotton tent from Vango. Now there's two models of this tent you might see online if you're looking around. There's the Anantara III, which is the 2021 model, and there's the Anantara IV, which is the 2022 model. There's very little differences between the two. I will show you the differences as we go into the video. For now, I'll start with saying it's basically Vango's flagship poly cotton tent. It's from their elite collection, and it's their top of the range model. The Anantara is just a huge family tent. You're not going to get much more space from a tent than you are from this. It's got a poly cotton fabric, which is a blend of polyester and cotton, so it's more breathable. So if you're out later and earlier in the season, you're going to experience less condensation, and also it's going to retain heat as well as be more breathable in hot climates. So the fabric is much more resilient to a camper's needs, and it's perfect for those people that are camping from spring all the way through to the end of autumn, as opposed to a polyester, which is probably more suitable for summer camping. The tent had a massive facelift in 2021 when they introduced the single point inflation. Now, single point inflation is a bit of a game changer for a tent this size, because it's going to make pitching the tent much easier, because you're just going to pitch it from one point and not several different beams. You can still have the ability to individually inflate each one if you so choose, but the single point inflation is just on the front beam. You're going to put your pump onto that one, onto the bottom valve, and inflate from there. I'd really recommend getting something like a turbo pump or an electric pump, just to simplify the process even more, because then you can set up the rest of your camp while the tent's inflating. So another great feature of this tent is the tent bag, which is why I've dragged it out to show you. Obviously it's quite a sizable unit, this. It does need two of you to get it in and out of the car. The tent actually weighs 63.9 kilograms, so it's definitely a two-person lift. But the good news is the tent bag is on wheels, so once you're out the car it's much more portable. The other great feature of the tent bag is that it has a really clever smart pack roller system, where it tells you the dimensions to fold the tent to get it back in the bag. So you're going to fold it to that width when you're packing away, and that way you can just roll it into the tent bag. It's much easier, and when you're putting a big family tent like this away, it's a real game changer. So if we look to the front of the tent, we've got a lot of great features here. First of all, the webbing straps are really simple and easy to use. If you're wanting to tension it, you just pull the orange part to create more tension. Obviously don't over tension it, and then fold that down like that. Again, if you're wanting to take some tension and stress away, if you just pull that up slightly and then pull the buckle, it just releases the tension from it. So this is a really good way of just getting your tent a little bit more taut at the front. Also, this door to the front obviously fully closes to create a sealed porch space from the elements. This door opens and closes about 18 different ways, so it's up to you how you want to have this door. It's very versatile. You can fold it to where I am stood now and have it rolled across, or you can roll it all the way to the end and get rid of the door, so it's a big open front door. That's really good if you've got either the canopies at the front or the awning at the front, just to create a wider walkway. These are the Climate Pro windows, so they're new for the 2021 model. The Climate Pro windows, this is a mesh exterior, and then you've got the window panel behind it. So the window simply zips away, and you've got this lovely mesh panel here. So if you have been cooking inside your tent, which is never typically recommend, but people do get caught in the weather and have no choice. If you have been cooking inside your tent, you can open this window once the weather clears up and get a real nice airflow into this area to clear it out. Also, a lot of people use this front area as storage, so for wet clothes, muddy boots, that kind of thing. So it's great to have airflow in here, number one, to reduce condensation, and also just to get a bit of air and breathability into the front of the tent. The front porch area does not come supplied with a ground sheet for this area. You would just leave it open and clear as it is now, and you can see our lovely pink carpet. However, if you buy the footprint ground sheet, you get a secondary ground sheet which goes in this space and covers it. So if you are wanting a ground sheet for this area, you can get one, and it comes with the ground sheet protector. And that's removable, it's easy to clean, and it toggles into place along the sides. So this mesh door rolls nicely back against the side of the tent panel to create your rain safe door. This is great for entering the tent when it's raining, because you aren't going to get the deluge of water, because this is going to protect you from the rainwater. So a lot of the time when you open a tent door and there's no canopy over the top, the rainwater that's on the tent door just drops into this space and it's quite frustrating. So this is a great feature for allowing rain-safe entry into the tent. So you've also got curtains on every window inside the front porch area, which you don't typically get on all free zone tents. The curtains obviously cover the windows, and they're zipped as well, so they're dead easy to use. So as part of the free zone tent design, what you get is a front porch area, which is great for storage, muddy boots, wet clothing, that kind of thing. You're going to put that stuff in here. Then you have what we call the sewn in area of the tent, which is your living space. So this is a fully integrated sewn in ground sheet. So the idea of this is that it's going to reduce the amount of bugs that are going to be able to get into the tent. It's going to stop the wind and the drafts coming in underneath the tent, and it's going to be sealed from water as well. So it's going to be a really nice cozy area, and this is the area you want to probably put a carpet, make it feel really homely, that kind of thing. So the sewn in ground sheet with this design also folds flat to here at this front door, and the purpose of this is that what you want to be able to achieve if you've got a pram or wheelchairs is just an easy entry point, and this is what this gives you. The side doors are both step over doors, so they're what we call a D door, so you'd have to step over the D to get into the actual tent. So if you've got wheelchairs and prams, this front area here where it folds down flat is really, really convenient for you. So inside the tent you've got lots and lots of ventilation. First of all, they've replaced a lot of the window panels on the intermediate wall with mesh. The more mesh the better in my opinion with tents, because it's going to breathe more, it's going to let more air flow into the tent, which is what you really want, and it's going to reduce condensation, which is the overall aim, and also help keep it cooler in warmer climates. So you've got a mesh panel here instead of a window. On this door, which is replicated to the other side of the tent, there is also a mesh panel. So you've got 3 interior mesh panels into the living space. So they're going to stop bugs getting in, they're going to let plenty of airflow through, and they're just going to create a much more comfortable sleeping environment. An additional feature that you get on the Vango Airbeam tents is the tension band system. The tension band system is patented to Vango. Nobody else can have this in their tents. And what it does is it creates a triangular structure in the middle of the tent, which corresponds to where the guy lines or the webbing straps are on the exterior of the tent. Hopefully you never need to use this system, because it's usually used in windy conditions to stabilise the tent. So essentially all you do is use the strap which plugs into the roof panel here, and then you can tension it down. What you don't want to do is over tension this. It just wants to be kind of like this one is here, not over tension, because if you over tension it, it can create too much tension on the exterior and it can pull the pegs out of the ground. So never over tension it. You just want to create a nice triangular structure in the event of windy conditions to protect you and make sure your tent stays as a good structure and isn't damaged by the wind. This is Vango Skytrack. So Skytrack is along each beam. Now at the rear of the tent by the sleeping compartments, it has Skytrack up the beam and up the main area of the beam as well. So it's down the sides and along the top. On the rest of the beams, it's just along the roof panel, but it allows you to hang accessories such as this light here and hide the cables as well and keep them nice and tidy. So that's Skytrack 2, and it's going to allow you to light your tent up or hang accessories. The last thing I want to talk to you about on this tent is the midnight inner bedrooms. The midnight inner bedrooms are a new design of sleeping inner. We're starting to see a lot more of this on family tents, darker inner tents, because during the summer, you've got the sun rising a lot earlier and you've got it setting a lot later. So people's sleeping habits are out of sync because they're being woken by early morning light. So what Vango have done to combat this is put in midnight inners, which you'll be able to see. It's quite hard to show on a video, but they're very, very dark inside there. So we're in a well-lit warehouse at the moment. If I was to close those doors, there'd be very little light that would be able to get in. They're not a complete blackout inner, but they do minimise and reduce most of the early morning light. The other great thing about Vango's inner midnight is that it's a 245 centimetre depth. Now, most inner tents are about a 210 centimetre depth. So if you've got a camp bed like we've set up here, on most inner tents it would need to sit sideways to actually get in because it's quite long. But the beauty of these longer bedrooms is that you can put queen size air beds in them. You can get a double camp bed which is raised from the ground. It's longer. You can get that in the internal sleeping compartment of this midnight inner. Also, the last thing that these inners have is zipped dividers. So there's two zip dividers. There's one here and there's one here. Now you can either unzip them and make it into one big sleeping compartment that can sleep up to 6 people, or you can have it varied and have one closed and one larger space, or you can have 3 separate bedrooms. This is great. It's really versatile to what you want it to be. And you know, you can split it into 3 twos, or you can do a 4 and a 2. It's up to you. Although this sleeping space sleeps 6, it will sleep 6, but I'd probably say it's more comfortable for 4 people, so that you've got plenty of space and you're not on top of each other. Finally, the last thing, we did talk about a midnight inner for this space here. There's actually an optional extra called the universal 2-berth inner tent. That universal inner just clips into the roof panel up here and just at the front of the tent, and that puts another 2-person bedroom to the front. So you can take it from a 6-man to an if you want, or you can have a separate sleeping compartment in this area here. I'll take you through and I'll show you all the optional accessories for the tent now, so you can see what additions are available for this tent. So to make life more comfortable in the Anantara 650, there's a range of optional additions which you can purchase separately or as part of our bundle deals, which are really going to increase the comfort of your tent. I'll take you through each one. So firstly, we've got the Airbeam turbo pump. The turbo pump is an electric pump. It works off a 12 volt, or you can combine it and use it with the power bank, which is just a simple electronic power bank. So if you combine these two together, what you can do is you can lay the tent out, you can peg it out, and you can use the turbo pump to inflate the tent from the single point inflation. You can then set the rest of your camp up and not worry about inflating the tent, which is probably the most tiring aspect of an air tent, is inflating it. So if you've got the air pump, that's a game changer for this tent, and it's going to pitch it in 10 to 12 minutes roughly. The second accessory is more of a range of accessories really, is the Sky Storage range. Now Sky Storage is several different accessories from Vango, so that there's loads of different types of these, and they hang from the SkyTrack system internally, and you can have them to add storage space to your living space, and basically just a bit more tidiness, so you can put things like magazines, books, those kind of things can be hidden up against the beams by using the Sky Storage system. So they're really great little optional extras. You then have the universal inner, which I mentioned a moment ago. That just fits into that right hand side of the tent living space, and it's an optional 2-person extra, so it's going to take this from a 6-man to an 8-man tent. In my eyes, the most important accessory for any tent is the ground sheet protector, also known as a footprint ground sheet. So the Anantara, it matches up with the GP120, so the GP120. In here you're going to get 2 ground sheets. You're going to get one which is a darker grey. You want to put that down and you want to pitch the tent on top of it. It's going to cover the soning ground sheet. It's going to protect it from accidental damage on hard standing pitches. It's also going to allow you to pack your tent away clean and dry at the end, because anything underneath the tent, any moisture from underneath, the ground sheet will take care of that, and the tent ground sheet, the soning ground sheet, will be clean, which allows you to pack your tent away wet, which prevents mold and mildew taking hold of the tent. So this is the most important accessory. If you ever buy a family tent, you always want to be getting the ground sheet protector. Then we've got the CP110, which is a matching carpet. The matching carpet will fit into the soning ground sheet area, the living space of the tent. It has straps which go around the beams to stop it moving around under your feet. It's PVC backed, so it's going to add insulation to the living space. So if you're camping in spring or autumn when it's quite cold of an evening, the carpet should hopefully increase the warmth inside the tent by blocking any cold air coming upwards. So that's a great accessory as well. So there is a zipped helmet to the front of the tent, and the zip allows for optional additions to be put onto the front. So for the Anantara 3 and 4, there are 3 optional extras for the front. So listen up, because it's going to get a bit confusing. Firstly, there's the TA108. That is a polyester open canopy. So it's just a roof shelter which comes out with steel poles either side to create just a bit of shelter to the front of the tent. That's the least popular one. Then we've got the TA105, which is an open front canopy with sides. That's very popular. It's quite lightweight. It's 150 denier. It's just this one down here. So it's very lightweight, quite easy to just throw in the car. You don't have to use it every time. But if you wanted more space to the front, an open space that you could potentially either cook under or sit under of an evening if it's nice weather, that's your man. It's a really good optional extra. And because it's polyester, it keeps it lightweight, so you're not buying another cotton heavy accessory. Last but not least, we have got the TA103. Now the TA103 is a full front awning. So this is cotton, it matches the same fabric as what the tent is made of. It's a little bit heavier because it's cotton, but what it is going to do is going to give you a double porch space. So all of those three canopies and awnings, they all zip onto the front to create a secure connection and just give you a lot more living space to the front. Now finally, if you're getting the 2022 model onwards, so that's the Anantara IV, I mentioned earlier on there's two studio annexes you can purchase. There's a small, which has got a 2-person inner tent included. That would come out over this door, so it would zip on here and come out and over to about where I am now. So it creates a side space to the side of the tent. Then there's the Studio Annex Large. The Studio Annex Large is a double-sided annex. So it comes with a 2-person inner, and it also provides a lot more living space and a side door.